What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk today about what you need to do to get your house ready for the market. So I have listed a lot of homes over the years, and every time we walk into a home, one of two things happens. Someone says, what do I need to do to get this home ready? Or those are the smart ones. We have the person who's like, no, this home's perfectly fine. And I can tell you that usually there's almost always something to do. Now, every now and then someone's house is immaculate. Those are wonderful. A lot of times those people, though, still will say, what do I need to do? And I'm like, no, you're fine. But usually they've already just done these things without really knowing that these are the things that I would recommend. Other times houses need a ton of things. There's a ton of ways around this, right? Sometimes you don't always need to do those things if you're willing to take a lower price. But statistically, the things that we're going to go over are usually going to really help you boost that price, get you top dollar for that house, which right now is super important since the market is shifting. So glad you're here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss any of these videos. We come out with them every single week. And we are licensed realtors, so if you're looking to make a move anywhere in the country, reach out to us so we can help you get that ball rolling, 812-315-3850. So we're going to dive into these items. I'm just kind of going over what I've got. I don't have notes down or anything like that. I'm just going to tell you what I typically see the most important things are. Now, based on your home, though, we need to get you in touch with a specific realtor in your area that really knows that and your type of market. It's going to be different for duplexes, single families, investment properties, complexes. All those are going to be different. I'm focusing today on essentially those homes that are single family homes in an average price point. We're not looking necessarily at really high or really low end, just kind of your average home, which is going to be different in every single market. So one of the things that I tell people first is you have to disassociate yourself from your property. So as a practice, I try and do this myself. When you walk into your home tonight, when you get to the front of the house, stop and just look at the house and say, if I was a random stranger looking at this property, what would I think? Take a good look around the outside of your house and then do that as you walk in. You go blind to a lot of these things because you live in them every single day. So it could be the things as small as dust on your baseboards, or it could be that squeaky front door. Every time I close my front door, it squeaks. I'm used to it, but for someone going to look at your house and potentially buying it, that's their first impression, is when they open that door and shut that door and it squeals at them. Those things are going to be annoying, and they add up, those little things that you might have gone blind to. So really pay attention, disassociate yourself from it, and be honest with yourself. It's not going to don't make yourself feel bad over it, but when you go into that house, look at it as an outside person. It's always wise to get friends and family's opinion who are going to be honest with you on it, or obviously your realtor is going to be able to tell you that as well, but make sure you get a realtor that's going to tell you the truth, because it does you no benefit for them to lie to you and tell you everything's good. So take yourself out of the equation, look at it as an outside person, and ask yourself, what would other people think about this house? And it can go down to all the little side things, little pieces or small things, little pieces of siding, things like that are going to make an impact on those buyers. Secondly, this is the biggest one, declutter and clean your dang house. And I'm not talking about just a little clean to make it nice for you and your family hanging out, but if there's clutter, that really gets to people. So I always tell people, when in doubt, throw it out. I don't care, box it up, get a storage unit. You want to make that home look staged or like someone isn't even living there. So get as much stuff out as possible. Your kitchen countertops is one of those biggest things. You have, a lot of times you got a toaster oven, you've got your air fryer, you've got your microwave, you got all these things spread out on the countertops. To you, that's nice because it's easy to get to. I get it. We do the same thing, but get rid of that stuff. Put it in cabinets, put it in boxes, make those countertops decluttered, nice and clean, and then go for a very, very deep cleaning after all this work is done that we're going to go over. That cleanliness goes a long way. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you not to do, though, is do not put in 50 freaking air fragrance plugins or a ton of Scentsies or anything like that. Some of those fragrances are so strong that they really turn people off. One time we had a buyer walk into a home. They didn't even look at the whole home. There were so many of those plugins in. It gave them a headache, and they turned back and walked right out the door. So a nice smell is good. If you want to put a diffuser out, I find that those are the least abrasive kind of scent producing items. but don't go overboard with those either. You also don't want people to think that you're covering any smells up. Now, if you've got pets or something like that and there is a strong odor, again, you might have gone nose blind to it. Get someone else to be honest with you on it. And there are options like ozone machines that can really help suck that smell out. Now, it's going to be tough to keep it out if you have pets in there, and those machines cannot be used around people or pets while they're being used. So be careful with that, read the instructions, but there are options there to really get that smell out, as well as just paint, airing it out, cleaning the floors. All that goes a long, long way. Next, paint. Really look at your walls. I bet you there's scuffs and things like that, especially if you've got kids and pets. It adds up really quickly. So paint those walls and paint them a nice neutral color, but gray is out. Don't put gray in your home. I'm so sick of gray. Everyone did it for years and years and years, like right before COVID, into COVID. And now it's kind of the staple of a poorly flipped home. It's too bland. And unfortunately, a lot of people did gray flooring with gray walls, with gray cabinets. And right now it's just blah. So it's going back towards those styles of the just typical white paint colors, or sometimes, especially in older historical homes or homes with a little more character, accent walls of darker, more moody colors. So in our kitchen, and we'll show it to you at some point, but we did kind of a dark, moody green color for the island cabinets, as well as our pantry cabinets, and white oak on the other ones. So think about that. Make sure that you choose those paint colors wisely though, but painting is almost always beneficial. It just gives that nice look. Now, the thing that drives me nuts though is when people say, I'm not gonna paint or I'm not gonna fix this, because they'll just move in and paint it a different color. You might be right, but if it helps you sell your home, don't you wanna do it? Who cares what they do with it after the fact? But getting a nice blank slate presented for them is going to go a long way. So while you're doing that though, make sure that you take off personal photos off the wall. If you got like one, that's fine. But if you've got one of those big portrait walls, get rid of it. You want those buyers to feel like they can actually live in your home. And if you've got a bunch of pictures up of you and your family, it's not the buyer's home, it's your home. So make it as inviting as possible. If you want some photos up, just make them nice pieces of art. Not too much, but it is nice to have some decorations on the walls. And whatever you take down, go ahead, patch those holes, make them real nice, and then paint over it so it's one less thing to look at. So if you paint and then you take those down and there are a ton of holes in the walls, it makes a big difference to a buyer. So go through, check those things, deep clean, paint, patch those holes. The other big thing that we're going to talk about, these are a little more work, but I always tell people light fixtures and flooring makes a whole different home. So if you've got carpet that's stained, or you've got that 2005 light colored kind of wood laminate, get rid of it. Put something more modern in there. There's a lot of affordable options like LVP or LVT, so your luxury vinyl plank. Those are gonna be really nice ones. Like I said, just avoid the gray typically, and make sure it's gonna flow well throughout your home. So as a rule of thumb, when you're standing in a room, you should only be able to see 2 different types of flooring. So if you've got one flooring in here and then the other room you can see over here has a different flooring, that's fine. It's not ideal, right? We love one type of flooring in a lot of the rooms. But if you can see 3, say you're in your kitchen, you can see a living room and a family room, and each room has a different flooring, that's a no-go. It's way too busy. So look at your flooring. You can replace that flooring usually for a pretty affordable price. Obviously something durable is nice, but you don't have to put in all new hardwoods or anything like that, or refinish those hardwoods if you've got beautiful hardwoods already in your home. That can get a little more expensive, so you really got to weigh out those options depending on how bad condition they're in. And your light fixtures. This is such an easy one. You can go buy new light fixtures, not that much, and get them installed either yourself if you know what you're doing. Please be careful. We don't want anyone electrocuted. But even if you hire someone to do that, it's not going to be a big deal. Go ahead and buy the light fixtures, set them under each light fixture you want, have an electrician come in, slap them out really quick. That's super easy, and that makes such a big difference too. So the old 90s, everyone calls them boob lights, get rid of them, right? They're so out of style. Put something a little more modern in. Make sure they don't hang too high, too low. But those are going to be really nice, and it really sets it apart. When you walk into a room, and you can envision this with me, walk into a room with modern flooring, with a new light fixture and a fresh coat of paint, That's completely different than stained carpet, a boob light, and bright yellow paint. So really think about that as well. Those things are gonna go such a long way for you. And then finally, when it comes down to the actual showings, prepping for the home, it's always nice to have the house set at a comfortable temperature. You don't want it too hot, too cold. I get you might have to pay a higher utility bill, but that's fine. It's worth it if it gets the house sold. Make it a very inviting atmosphere, right? To have everything cleaned, put away, nice, just like we talked about earlier, and it's gonna make a big difference for you. So these are just kind of some of the top tips that I usually give to our sellers when they're going to sell their home. If you have any questions, though, if you're looking to dive into this a little more, reach out to me. We can either help you answer that question for you, or we can connect you with someone in your area that can do that as well. As always, we love having you guys here, and we will catch you next time. See you later.